Let me back up a little. My best friend Marcus and I have known each other since middle school. We are the kind of friends who have each other's passwords, who show up unannounced with food, and who know exactly when the other person is lying. So when his little sister Chloe moved back to town after a bad breakup, Marcus asked me for a favor. He didn't even finish his sentence. He just said, "Chloe's back," and I already knew what he needed. He needed me to be normal around her, to not make things weird, to just be a decent guy. Now Chloe is not a kid anymore. Last time I saw her, she had braces and was arguing with Marcus over the TV remote. Now she is 24, working as a nurse, and carrying this heavy tiredness that no makeup can hide. She showed up at Marcus's place one evening while I was there playing video games. She looked fine, but fine in that way where you can tell someone is holding their shoulders up too high. You know that look? Like they are bracing for something bad to happen any second. We said hi. She sat on the couch. Didn't say much. Marcus went to take a work call, and for about 10 minutes, it was just us and the sound of the game menu music repeating. I hate awkward silence, so I just asked her straight up, "When's the last time someone gave you a real massage?" She laughed. Not a happy laugh. A surprised laugh. She said, "I don't even remember." And that was the first little crack in the wall. I am not a professional masseuse. I want to be clear about that. I am just a guy who learned a few things from YouTube and from dating someone who had chronic back pain. So I know a few tricks. I know how to use my thumbs without hurting anyone. I know how to find the knots behind the shoulder blade. And most importantly, I know that a massage is not just physical. It is a conversation without words. So I offered. I said, "I'm not weird about it if you aren't. You look like you're carrying a piano on your back." She looked at me for a second, probably trying to figure out if I was hitting on her. Then she just said, "Fine, but if you hurt me, I'm telling Marcus." I laughed and told her to lie down on the carpet. I grabbed a pillow from the couch for her head and got to work. This is where the problem started. Not a problem with her. A problem with me. I started on her neck, very light. Just my fingers at the base of her skull. Within 30 seconds, her whole body dropped. You have to understand what that feels like. You touch someone who is all tight and closed off, and then suddenly they exhale and go soft. It is one of the most trusting things a human can do. And I felt something shift inside me. Not romance. Not lust. Something closer to care. Like I wanted to fix every broken thing she had ever felt. I moved to her shoulders. Her traps were rock solid. I used my elbows very gently and rolled out these little knots that felt like pebbles under her skin. She winced once. I stopped immediately. She said, "No, keep going." That's the good pain. So I kept going. Down her spine. Along her lower back. I stayed completely professional. No funny business. I kept the blanket over her legs and I only touched what was necessary. But here is the thing about massage. When you do it right, the other person starts talking. Their mouth just opens. And Chloe started talking. First, it was small stuff. "I'm so tired. Work is killing me." Then she said, "Derek never did this. Derek is the ex." I didn't ask. She just offered. I kept my hands moving and let her talk. She said he would only touch me when he wanted something. And even then, it was like 2 minutes. No care. No attention. Just enough to get what he wanted. I didn't say anything. I just pressed a little deeper into a knot right by her shoulder blade. She made a sound, half pain, half relief. Then she said the line that broke me. She said, "You've treated me better in 20 minutes than he did in 2 years." I stopped moving my hands. Not because I was shocked, but because I realized how sad that was. She wasn't complimenting me. She was telling me how low her bar had been set. And that is the problem I want to talk about here. We live in a world where basic human decency has become impressive, where a guy giving a simple, non-sexual, caring touch is so rare that it feels like a miracle. That is not a flex on my part. That is an emergency on everyone else's part. Chloe sat up after a few more minutes. Her eyes were a little red. She wiped her face like she was pretending to rub an itch. Then she looked at me and said, "Sorry, I didn't mean to dump all that on you." I told her she didn't need to apologize. Then Marcus came back into the room and asked why his sister looked like she was about to cry. She laughed and said, "Your friend just fixed my back," and that was it. That was the whole thing. Except it wasn't, because the next day, Chloe texted me. Not Marcus, me. She said, "Hey, can I ask you something weird?" I said, "Sure." She said, "Why were you so gentle with me?" I thought about that question for a long time, because the real answer is not simple. The real answer is that I have also been treated badly before. I know what it feels like to be touched like an object. I know what it feels like to be someone's afterthought. And I made a promise to myself a long time ago that I would never make another person feel that way. But I didn't tell her all of that. I just said, "Because you're a person, not a problem." She didn't reply for 6 hours. Then she sent a single sentence. "Marcus is lucky to have you." And that was the end of it. Nothing happened between us. No secret romance. No dramatic confession of love. Just two humans being honest for 5 minutes. But that moment changed how I see everything. Because most people go years without someone truly seeing them. Without someone touching them with no hidden motive. Without someone listening, without trying to fix them or sleep with them. And here is the uncomfortable truth. A lot of guys watching this are going to hear this story and think, "Oh, so I should learn massage to get girls." No, you are missing the point. The massage was just the excuse. The real thing that made her open up was safety. She felt safe with me because I didn't want anything from her. I wasn't trying to date her. I wasn't trying to impress her. I was just a guy giving a gift with no receipt. And that is so rare that it broke through every wall she had built. So let me ask you something. When was the last time you made someone feel completely safe? Not impressed. Not attracted. Not entertained. Safe. Because safety is the most attractive thing on earth. More than looks. More than money. More than confidence. If someone can be there messy, tired, broken self around you without you, panicking or running away or trying to take advantage, you become unforgettable. Not because you are special, because you are rare. Now, I am not saying I handled everything perfectly. I probably should have told Marcus before I touched his sister. That is just bro code. And I should have been more careful about not blurring lines when someone is emotionally vulnerable. She had just left a bad relationship. Her judgment was cloudy. Mine should have been clearer. But I also think we overcomplicate human connection. We act like it is a game with rules and strategies and winning moves. But most of the time, it is just showing up and being kind with no backup plan. Chloe and I are fine now. We see each other at family dinners. She is dating someone new, a guy who actually rubs her feet without being asked. Marcus still doesn't know about the conversation, and I am never going to tell him, because that moment was not for him. It was for her, a little proof that not all men are careless, a little reminder that she deserves better, and a little lesson for me that the smallest actions leave the biggest marks. The real turning point was not when she said I treated her better than her ex. That was just the symptom. The real climax happened 5 seconds after she said it. When I looked at her face and saw she wasn't trying to flirt. She wasn't trying to start something. She was just confused. Confused that a regular guy with no training and no romantic interest could make her feel more seen than the man who claimed to love her for 2 years. In that moment, I realized that we are not suffering from a lack of love. We are suffering from a lack of basic respect. And until you learn to give that freely, no massage, no gift, no date night is going to fix anything. So here is what I want you to take away. You do not need to be a professional. You do not need to be rich or funny or gorgeous. You just need to pay attention. Touch people like they matter. Listen like what they say is important. And never, ever make someone feel like they are asking for too much when they are just asking for the bare minimum. Chloe remembered that 20-minute massage more than she remembered 2 years of a relationship. That is not a compliment to me. That is a warning to all of us. We can do better. We have to do better, because everyone is walking around with knots that no one bothers to press.